So, welcome everyone. This is the first of our learning podcasts, and we're focusing today on promoting and building relationship with schools. So, we've got some A-level guests. So, we've got Matt Williams from Trance Learning Academy, Dave Tremaine, who's from DT Coaching, and James Ross from St Brulot Primary School in Weybridge. So, first of our sort of questions, it's going to open to everyone really, is um, how and why do you make the holiday program a priority to promote to families? So a bit of a question to get the grey brain cells going to start with. But does anyone want to start off with that about how you make it a priority from a school perspective?
I'll jump in, James, if you want.
Go on, you go.
Yeah, I think. Can I start with the why rather than the how? Because I think
Yeah.
the why it's important is I think school holiday times are really long. Actually, for lots of our children, that's a really long period where we worry what they're up to, if they're doing anything. It's about engagement, and actually, why we feel it's a priority to have the Time to Move program operating here is because we know those children will not access anything during those times when they're at home. So having an external provider come in and do that just enables them, I guess, to access opportunities, food, safety that they wouldn't necessarily always have for some of our children in holidays.
What about from your perspective as from a provider, how can you sort of support this really?
Well, obviously, we were lucky enough to be on the infancy of the Time to Move program and having the option of, free reign in some respects, but being a Camel boy in that Camel Roof dynamic where children from really deprived areas, we're noticing how it's changed and how it's sort of what benefits them most. We're having children coming in that, from really deprived areas that we see aren't maybe getting the right care or like food and stuff like that. And the feeding part of us, for us, a small majority, we're noticing that they are eating a lot and having that meal side of it for us, especially in Camel Red Roof area, we've noticed has been big. And I think having a provision and having sort of stability of a program during the summer holidays is good in the respect when they go back to school. Maybe they're not as disconnected from school. Yeah, that's what I've noticed. But the activities we offer are generally not school related, but having that focus throughout the summer holidays, I think, is key for long-term development within school. But that's only what I've seen.
Okay. And you as a provider, you've done a lot of work with building relationships with schools. What sort of how have you been able to go about and doing that? How have you been able to create those relationships with different schools around the
Well,
Camborne area and other areas as well?
well, early on, because when we did it, it was quite hard. It was during COVID. No one was really sort of wanting to do that. But as the program's gone on, we've noticed that linking with head teachers and having them on board is a better way in doing it, increasing the numbers. So when we've done it in the past with schools that the head teacher and they're keen on PE and they're keen on all the stuff that goes with the holiday program, they help us promote it. So they put it on the newsletters. But working with them and going around to near sort of 2 or 3 weeks before the summer holiday starts, go around to every class before the end of the day and promoting the activities we do, with the VR and the Nerf and the laser tag, and then them going buzzing about it, them coming out and us being there ready with the parents to advise how to book it on. If they're having issues booking on, we do it for them, has increased our numbers and massively compared to where we started. So having that links with the school, parents and the children buying into it has sort of helped us increase our numbers long term. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that's great. Matt, Dave mentioned obviously about head teachers. Is that something? Do you think the head teachers are the best people to try and speak to, obviously from your experience and your current role, or do you think there's sort of other people within schools, other roles who may be better suited, especially trying to target these families on benefits free school meals?
I think it's probably school dependent. I think the initial part is having that contact with a school, and I think schools will then, depending who's leading certain areas or who has that as a focus. I know here our admin team are incredible, so they are the sort of people who can really help with that. I know Dave once gave me a key ring, so that also helped. I mean, any freebies that schools are in, but I think head teachers are great, but also it's around that initial contact, and I think schools that are keen and willing to engage will then direct providers to who is the best person in school to take that forward. And
what's the best way of for providers to be able to do that? Because we know that schools are very busy. I don't know if Rossi wants to jump in here as well. How? Yeah, it's just saying that how and what's the best thing for a provider to be able to come in? Is it offer some time to do some taster sessions? Is it just getting to know the school and you as what's those key bits which we would love to be able to shout about?
It's interesting because obviously it's different here because I'm the provider, and then I sub in DT coaching, the community clubs coaches, etc. So I know my children, the ones that I need to get, but then I have to reach out to my cluster, and as Matt's kind of saying, head teachers may not have that remit, so I go to the PE leads and then ask them to turn around and feed it out for me to people they think might benefit from it. But from our school, I just go to the Senko and the person in charge of pupil premium, and we have a little chat, and then we identify those children, and then we speak to the parents, speak to the kids, send them emails. It's out in the newsletter. And then the hard to reach ones, we give them the flyer, the poster that we get done. And then we also say, we are going to book your children onto this because we know they will benefit from it. And then kind of have them booked on, because that sometimes is a barrier that parents won't or don't like the, booking onto playways, etc., and registering and all that. So we kind of do it a little bit different for us. But I think, whoever's going to be your provider, if you can get them in to meet the maybe the Senko, the pupil premium, or like the team, and they kind of identify that group that they want in, and then the provider can then maybe go and do a couple sessions with them. Like Dave says, he's been and done a couple of taster sessions, but just with that group, it might then get that buzz and get the parents on board a bit more. Because the kids are on board. The kids want to come. Quite often it's the parents that struggle to get there for whatever reason.
Yeah, obviously, I think the key thing there is what you said around is that each school is different, and it's worth trying to get to know them, isn't it? And I think that's the big bit. But so, what do you think some of those barriers for those parents are, then, Rossi, in terms of trying to get them to the sessions and get them to booking on? What do you think some of those barriers are?
It's parents wanting sometimes the easy option. It's easy to stay at home and have their children on devices instead of getting them out in the fresh air. It's logistics of getting them. I know one of my ones that comes to St Brioc, she has to get 2 buses to get them here. So you've got some that are willing to do everything for their child, and some are a little bit more reserved and don't want to do that. And then others, they're kind of deciding for their children, oh, you don't want to go to that, but actually the child most probably does want to go to that. And they're kind of making those choices for them at times. And it's quite hard because I'll do everything for my children inside school, but when they go outside school, there's a lot more should be doing clubs, community clubs and that, and they just don't. It's just maybe not the parents have got the drive that we have. I don't know, I'm not being very nice if I'm honest, but I don't know how to get those parents engaged if they don't want to be engaged. The kids want to be engaged, but the parents don't want to be engaged. How do you do that? I'm not sure.
I think like
Okay.
when I go in, and I know what you're saying, and working with the teachers as well as the kids. If you get them buzzing about what you're doing, and then they going out to the parents and they're going, I want to go on this, I want to go on this. The parents haven't got a leg to stand on. And when we've been there with the paperwork to do, so we can put them on, they've literally, because the kid wants to go to it, they have to. They're sort of they've sort of been put in the spotlight, but they have to do it. Where if you're making life easy for them, they book on, and that's what we've noticed, especially in schools like Birracombe, and St Dennis, very much so as well, because we had to open up places purely because more kids wanted to go on it because those are things we did.
Okay, great. So just two final questions then. Like each of you, if possible, to come one top tip that you would recommend for providers or schools to do to be able to help build those relationships. So one top tip from each.
I would say you need to get those relationships with the people within the school, within the schools that deal with, your free school meals, children. You need to build that relationships, the trust with them. And then from the trust, then they'll be able to give you the information or help you book on these children. So it's all about building those relationships with the right people in the right schools.
Brilliant. Matt?
Yeah, I'd probably echo that. I think that trust with school and provider, it's like a three-way thing, isn't it? That actually the parents generally trust schools, and what they want is the school to make helpful decisions. And by sharing those providers with them, I know we had a member of staff who joined our holiday club provider during that holiday period, so there was like an extra connection there for them to know. But I think from providers, it's about getting into schools and matching the school in the area where your ethos matches. I think our provider is very dance and art based, which sort of fits our community.
Yeah.
Some of those are more sports driven, and that's where you want the sports providers in. It's not just about having anyone, it's about having the right provider in the right place for the right purpose.
Yeah, definitely agree with that.
And Dave, what do you think is your sort of top tip?
Well, I think consistency. So having that consistent link with the school and the parents, knowing that they're going to be going there in the summer and Easter, and over the years you sort of get used to the same, high percentage of individuals coming to that camp because they know what they're getting. The parents trust that provider and the school. And again, echoing what both Rossi and Matt said, just making good choices and the school being on board and trusting what the provider does. I think it makes the parents sort of that trust as well. So just making sure everything's coming together, really.
What does the Time2Move Holiday Programme mean to you?
To me, it's a chance to link our community clubs into our harder to reach children, because we can get some community coaches come in and do the odd day for us, and get some give back there. So we've got some exit routes for the children. It's also keeping in touch with the children over that summer, some of the harder to reach. And for me, because obviously I do a little bit on it as well, it's the kids seeing me in a different environment, not in a complete and utter school environment teacher mode. This is more of a relaxed mode. You're here to have fun, and I can have fun with them. So they see a different side to me, not the gruffly shouting person. Do you know what I mean? We do have fun. So it's getting to know the parents and the kids on a different level.
Right. Dave or Matt, who wants to go next? What does the programme mean to you?
Well, for me, it's great seeing children that potentially would never be put on these sports camp if there wasn't funding there, and given the opportunity to do things they probably wouldn't got the opportunity to do out of a school setting. Yeah, I think that's good. Good for them and good for their development, and yeah, just opportunities I think for those individuals.
Right. And Matt?
Yeah, I'd probably echo voting again. I would say like strong schools, we live by the mantra, I guess, that strong schools are necessary, but they're not sufficient in what they do. And actually having external providers that provide opportunities, meals, life chances, all of those things outside of the normal school day and the school term time can only benefit children. So for us, it's a no-brainer that we're in school for this period, and when there's a break, there's something else for you to do. It's not, we'll see you again in a few weeks.
Cool. Great. Well, yeah, thank you all for your time, and hopefully there's a few key nuggets for other people to be able to take away and share to hopefully start building those relationships with their schools and create those provider and school relationships. So, but no, thank you very much.
Thank you.